Hey guys, Chaos Hammer here, and we have another update video for you. For today, we actually have our first major update of 2024, and this is the British Forces Rework Part 2 coming live to, well, everyone. And with this update, there's actually a decent number of things to talk about in regards to the update to the British faction, the new game mode that has been talked about for the last couple of months, and just little other things that we'll talk about all together in today's video. So kind of reading off top of the dev brief here, just to keep myself kind of in line and to give you at least a sense what you'll look at if you pull it up. The first thing to talk about is Control Skirmish, or the new game mode they're bringing out. So essentially this game mode will be a quicker game mode that you can play if you don't have time for a full-scale game. Because main games like Offensive and Warfare do take a lot of time. And overall, this will feature a couple of new things. So essentially, it's going to be fighting over a middle point. You'll have your HQ sectors, but there'll be one center point that both teams fight for. And whoever owns that position in the end owns the game. So think of it as warfare, but without having to defend a backup objective or your own objective. You're just fighting over one point. It also brings up a new type of garrison, the forward position, which I personally didn't play the PTE, so I wouldn't know much about this position or the spawn point itself, so I might make a video on that, we'll see. But there is a couple other changes compared to the other game modes that is important to know about. In particular, there's only one armor squad that can be deployed, one recon squad that can be deployed, and the commander can only spawn in medium tanks, and there's no artillery pieces anywhere on the map. So for those of you who hate artillery, you're probably going to like this game mode. But there's a lot less armor and recon that can be thrown around. So there's only one tank crew, one recon. So you're going to have to fight for those positions to play in. But there's still going to be a lot more infantry teams. So it's just more for instant combat and a bit more smoothed out gameplay for those who just want a more simplified experience. And for those of you worried about if it'll be hard to find on PC, there's actually going to be official Hell Let Loose servers across the Europe servers, US East, and Asia servers that will be running these game modes 24/7, so just nothing but skirmish. So there'll be that. And then for a console, there'll actually be a separate thing you can press. So if you want to play Offensive Warfare, you can go to that. And if you want to play just skirmish, you can do that too. Now, currently, from what it looks like, the only two maps being run right now on skirmish is El Alamein and Drill, probably just to show off the British weapons that they've put into the game. The maps for both of these are pretty more condensed down, so they're a lot smaller, but there's also one point to fight over, so understandably. And with Drill, I'm kind of interested to see about the river crossing. I know it's shallow, but either way, I'm interested to see how this game mode plays out. Speaking of El Alamein, they did a map refresh, and overall add a couple new things, such as a couple bridges, a bunch more foliage, some more buildings, more routes to take. Just overall try to clean the map up. Now, I hope this makes the map run a little bit cleaner, but we'll see. But at least, again, they're trying to make improvements wherever possible. Moving along with the dev brief now, we get into the paid and unpaid DLC, starting with the Red Devils and the Polish Parachute Brigade that were both used during Operation Market Garden. I think it's a nice touch, and I think it's a really cool addition to the game. Again, this is all cosmetic, so nothing that's pay to win, but a cool little gesture about a military during this campaign that really wasn't mentioned, the Polish military, that isn't really portrayed too much in video games. So just a nice thing to see. For a free DLC, we do have the Near Miss British 8th Army Edition. So basically, it's their helmet or damaged gear where you take basically a near headshot that somehow didn't kill you. So just, again, something cool, but you can get it for free. Now, moving on to the new weapons and armor that's in the game, there's a bit of change here. So, talking about the British small arms or infantry equipment, you have the Sten Gun Mark V, the number 4 Mark I sniper rifle, the Thompson M1928A1, which was already in the game but now on Drill as well, and the number 82 Gammon Bomb. Now, from what I could gather from jumping into one or two games and just the barracks as a whole, the Sten Gun Mark V will be spread around a couple different classes and across a lot of different loadouts. The number 4 Mark I sniper will be replacing the Lee Enfield Pattern 1914 sniper rifle. The Thompson M19A1 will also be sprinkled into a couple classes, and the Gammon Bomb, or the Explode on Impact Grenade, will be present in at least the Anti-Tank and Engineer classes. So just a quick sidebar with the sniper rifle before I talk about the Gammon Bomb, since it's really the biggest new thing they're bringing in. The Lee Enfield will have a new scope, the number 32 scope. I haven't really looked into this, so take it what you will. We'll see how effective it is. Now that's out of the way, let's talk about the Gammon Bomb, the newest piece of very interesting equipment. Essentially, this is an impact grenade that can damage and or destroy certain vehicles, which that adds a new dynamic to the game, which is awesome. So overall, what I have here is what Team 17 wrote about at the top part of the screen, and at the bottom, basically the things that outline what it can damage or destroy. So Jeeps, transport trucks, half-tracks, recon tanks, light tanks can be destroyed, mediums and heavies can't, and to the right of it, you have the hits required. So there you go. But now that we've talked about the small arms department, let's talk about the new tanks that are being added. So the tanks that are being added are the Crusader Mark III medium tank, the M3 Stuart Honey light tank, and the Churchill Mark VII heavy tank. So for LLMA, they've added the Crusader Mark III as the new British medium tank and the M3 Stuart as the new light tank, effectively replacing the Cromwell and the Tetrach respectively. Which means most of the tanks now, if not all of them, are historically accurate for at least the British side for LLMA, which I think it's cool. Time will tell if it truly works out or if it's truly that realistic, but again, I'm all for these changes, and I hope they work out. And for drill, they've added the Churchill 7 heavy tank, which means the British will actually have a proper heavy tank on drill that has actual heavy armor. As far as I know, they haven't removed the Firefly. I haven't been able to check on this. If you guys get to it on game before I have a chance to reference it, please put it in the comments below. I'd appreciate that. But that's the tanks that they've put in, and I'm also looking forward to that. I think it'll bring a little bit more parity for the British forces in general, now that they have heavy tanks on both maps, and also it's a little bit more historically accurate for those who truly care. And finally, to end the video, overall, they have some general bug fixes. I'm not going to really put anything on screen. If you want to reference every single one of them, I'll leave a link down below that you can reference the changelog. But some things like smoke grenades in the shadow of other objects appear to flicker with light shadow. Performance issues on all the maps observed when firing the flamethrower, and just some little things that they are just trying to improve with the game. But I hope you got something out of the video. I hope this update comes out really well. I have high hopes for it. And hopefully this will make the British forces finally more competitive and more of a likable faction to play. But take care, and I'll see you in the next one.